been having a tough week. I came back from Colorado, saw my friend and his girlfriend. She was sick. Then I get sick. Been sick all week, and I get a canker sore, so it's hard to talk. It's been 99 problems. But then today, I went on Instagram and I got a DM from a Georgia fan. And that Georgia fan told me that because of our YouTube channel and because he's basically harassed by me with notifications about Nebraska and all the updates, he has now made Nebraska his second team. And I thought, wow, if I can sell a Georgia fan who's, I mean, at this point, he's used to winning, he's used to success, he's used to watching good football. If I can sell that guy on wanting to watch Nebraska play and wanting to pay attention to all the drama that we are so used to dealing with, then we must be doing something right. So, positive note, positive story. I'm happy to hear that more than just Nebraska fans can enjoy our content. And, we're not all struggling in this together. There are a lot of fans around the country who are now tired of Nebraska losing. They've been like that for the past year, but it's really getting frustrating for all of us, not just the ones who are close to the situation. So things will get better. And it all starts with a night game at home against Northern Illinois. Man, I made that prediction video the other day, and I think I said Nebraska would win that game by 10 points. I still believe it to be true. But if there was ever a week to be nervous, this is the one. I was looking at some predictions online from, what were they? I'd have to pull them up. Winners and something in college football news. And everyone pretty much thinks Nebraska's going to win this game, but the questions are all about, well, will they turn it over? And I was hoping we get some news on the starting quarterback today, but nothing yet. My guess is we're going to see Heinrich Harburg, but it really feels like the coaches want to play this one either close to the vest or they really want to hope that Sims is going to be back in time or healthy enough to play. In the ideal world, I think Sims sits out because if he is your number one and you want to make sure he's good to go for the whole year, make sure he's 100% before he comes back. And do you really want Sims in if he's limited, right? He's a prolific runner. He's primarily a runner. And if his ankle's the thing bothering him, why would you want to limit him and take away the run game? So hopefully we see Heinrich. I'm guessing we're going to see Heinrich. But outside of that, it's anybody's guess as to what's going to happen tomorrow night. The good thing is we get to start our day on a positive note. Going to be a lot of football games to watch that don't include a team that we care about losing. And because of that, we should all be in a positive mindset going into 6 p.m. Thankful for it. I've got some things I was going to share on my screen. So we'll start it off. I want to read a couple predictions. The first one, this one is from College Football News. Why Northern Illinois will win. Will the real Northern Illinois please show up? It managed to push through a road game at Boston College in an overtime thriller to start the season, and then it couldn't stop turning the ball over in a total clunker of a 14-11 loss to Southern Illinois from the FCS world. I don't know where Southern Illinois ranks in the FCS. I should have looked that up, but I think they are pretty good. They're not top 10, I wouldn't assume, but they're probably in the top 25. No one gives the ball away like Nebraska does. Thank you for the reminder. 4 giveaways in each of the first 2 games, and the Huskies will need at least that if they want to pull this off. I don't see that as being true. I think if Northern Illinois got 2 turnovers, they could potentially win. That also would mean that their offense was efficient and that they were able to score on their drives and at least make their field goals in the worst case scenario, because 2 turnovers is enough when a Nebraska team that we've watched cannot score at all. So 2 turnovers means Nebraska would get 14 points, in my opinion. And if Northern Illinois could score once on their own, that would put them ahead 21-14. So really, I would hope Nebraska can limit themselves to at max 1 turnover. And then obviously the defense, if they play lights out, they can give away more, but let's hope for 1. Northern Illinois has been amazing on 3rd down on both sides of the ball. It controls the clock for well over 36 minutes. Why Nebraska will win. Lost in even more pain and suffering in Lincoln in an ugly 0-2 start under Matt Rule as the defense. Both Minnesota and Colorado threw 44 times with varying degrees of success, but the Husker front line has been great against the run. They really have. 3-3-5 that we thought was going to be more emphasized or more focused on the pass has emphasized the run game and stopping that, and it's worked out. All of our concerns have washed away. We're going to talk about what Urban Meyer thinks in a minute. The pass rush is tied for the nation's lead with 11, and the offense doesn't have to press. Northern Illinois doesn't have the firepower to put up big numbers to make this any sort of back and forth fight. Just don't turn the ball over, and Nebraska will be fine. Finally, Nebraska fans will get to have some fun. Sure, there'll be some mix-ups and problems to keep this from being too easy. There always are. We haven't seen a clean game in a while. But this will be an enough is enough moment. With Jeff Sims banged up and questionable at best, the Huskers will keep it on the ground with at least 45 carries. So 45 carries. What would that split be? Maybe Harbor gets 10. Gabe Irvin gets 15. That takes you to 25. Grant gets 10. That takes you to 35. And then the last 10 could be a mix between Grant, Irvin, and Ramir Johnson, maybe. That would be interesting. I do think 45 carries would be the best case scenario if you're running with Heinrich Harburg, but maybe they want to open it up and maybe Heinrich surprises us. You know, there have been times in the past, not at Nebraska, but at other schools where the backup quarterback comes in and shines right away. If we're being optimistic, maybe Harburg comes and lights this team up and shows us that he's a legit competitor for that number one spot. Anyway, there will be a decent early lead, and for the first time since October 1st of last year against Indiana, there will be a win by the home football team in Lincoln, Nebraska. Man, think about that. Nebraska hasn't won a home game since October 1st last year. That's 11 and a half months ago. Jesus, that's a long time. What a mess. Judy says part of it depends on where they turn it over. You know, Judy, what's your prediction for turnovers? How many do you think Harburg gets? I don't want to jinx it, but I am going to guess. I'm going to make a prediction. I don't think Harburg fumbles the ball. I think Harburg is so focused and so concerned about taking the snap the right way, handing the ball off the right way, and carrying it high and tight that he won't have a single fumble. So that's a prediction. I also think that Harburg, if he throws more than 10 passes, I think Harburg will have one interception. I think it's nerve-wracking being a starting quarterback. It's nerve-wracking. I mean, he's played, 10 plays as a starting quarterback so far. This is going to be his first real role as the starter at Nebraska. Could be stressful, so I'd say one. But outside of that one interception, if they just run it the entire time, this could be a pretty clean game from Nebraska. They're all super focused, and maybe we see 2 turnovers at max. So you guys think 1-0? That'll be interesting. I don't know. Lavender says, I'm still waiting to see the fullbacks carry the ball. You know, we're all waiting for that. I'm not sure when we're going to get it. So last week, I didn't get to share with you guys my story because I got sick this week. So I really didn't want to go live. I really didn't want to make any videos. I just felt terrible. So I'm going to share it with you now. So I go to that Colorado game. This is a story about scalping tickets, by the way, because we always talk about scalping tickets, how it works. And I want to tell you about my experience going to, one of the craziest events I've ever gone to where I've scalped. So I've been to the national championship and scalped. Fine. I've been to NBA playoffs and scalped. Fine. Colorado with Dion scalping, crazy. So I pull up to the stadium. It's 7 a.m. Let's say I meet up with some corn crazed people. I'm with my friend. We walk all around, and there are a bunch of scalpers out right in front. So I stand there for a little bit, and guys are walking up to me, 400, 500. And keep in mind, these are for seats between the 20s. The end zones, they wanted 300, 350. I'm like, I'm going to wait a little bit because I can wait up until kickoff. I'm going to try and let these prices dip down a bit, Well, my friend ends up finding a ticket on the 20-yard line, kind of at the top, for, I think it was 200. So I said, you need to buy that right away because on StubHub, the lowest prices are $320. This game is just insane. $320 for a ticket from a scalper usually would put you dead 50, like 10th row or 15th row, which is, I would say, the best seat in a football stadium. 15th row, dead 50. Can't get better than that. And that's for a big game like Nebraska, Michigan. And even in that case, Nebraska, Michigan, I could sit dead 50, 15th row from a scalper for $150, not $300. You just wait until the last minute. Anyway, my friend gets his ticket for $200. I'm outside the stadium. I'm just waiting because I'm not paying $300 to go inside, and I'm not going to sit in a seat that's not good. I wanted to get good content. I want to make sure that I can see the game and that I know what's going on, right? So I wait. We get up to kickoff, and the planes fly over the stadium. I hear the whoosh, and then guys outside are all walking up, and they're wearing Denver Broncos gear. You can tell they're just local Colorado guys who want to go in the game, but they don't want to spend more than $100. So finally, I hear the crowd roar like kickoff happened. So I walked up to another guy. I was like, hey, I need a single. This guy wants $250, but he only wants to sell them in a pair. So if you can get me anywhere close to $250, I'll pay you $250, even though the ball's kicked off already. So guy's like, all right, I'll do 280. So I get in. These were my seats. $280. I bought the ticket after kickoff, and it still cost that much. Freaking insane. So this is where I sat. I'm on the 35-yard line. So yeah, this is my straight on view. I'm on the 35. I'm in the 37th row, and I'm sitting next to, on my left side, Colorado fans, or my left side, Nebraska fans, my right side, Colorado fans. Pretty good view. I was not complaining. I'll go back to this story that's outside the stadium. Oh, I'll go back to that story. Okay, so right here is where I bought the tickets. So you stand right here at this pole. This was the entrance to go into the stadium. So all the scalpers lined up right here. I would say there were like 10 of them, and they were all just walking around holding up tickets. So it was really easy to get them if you were willing to pay the price. So that's kind of the scalping deal. I waited and watched on StubHub, and right before the game on StubHub, they were $330. And then right when kickoff happened, they went down to $310. So I was like, okay, they barely are dropping. I just got to get in. I wasn't going to wait till halftime. That's a clear shot of where I sat. I mean, for what the experience was, it was well worth the price. This was a monumental event for that school. It was, obviously, if Nebraska could have won, going to be a very good time for me. The pregame was fantastic, like the night before, going out and drinking in the morning and hanging out. All of that was fun. But yeah, it was worth it. So the day before, my friend and I walked around. We went to the campus. I'd never been to Boulder before, and I like to just explore the campus, see what's going on, pregame festivities. So we parked in this parking garage. Actually, our car is like right under this buffalo. I figured it out. So we were parked under this buffalo. We walked up these stairs, and we end up on their practice field, and then we end up on their or in their indoor facility, and that's what this is. This is their indoor practice facility, and you've got prime time here. This was all for recruiting, obviously. So that was cool to be able to get into there. And then after the game, oh, that's outside their stadium. Their stadium was way nicer than I thought it was going to be. Everything about Boulder was way nicer than I thought it was going to be. It was a hit, home run. If Nebraska plays in Boulder again, I will be going back. I would even say I would go back for another really big game in Boulder that didn't involve Nebraska, as long as Dion's there, because the fans, they're lit right now. Okay, so then after the game, I am with some people, and I'm just walking around talking to people. The cool thing about Corn Craze is it's given me the option to go to games alone and never feel lonely, because every time I turn my head, I'm talking to somebody. So after the game, we walked over to where the players were and saw some people. I didn't really want to see the players because, I was about to make a live stream and complain, so I walked past them really quickly. And then I got over to this guy, Joel Klatt. We all know who Joel Klatt is. So I walked up to Joel, and I was like, Joel, listen, I've got the biggest Nebraska YouTube channel. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers, and I can tell you right now, there's nothing they love more than to have you come on for an interview. Joel was like, wow, 20,000 subscribers. He was impressed by that because he only has 53,000 subscribers, and he's Joel Klatt, and he's got 3 times as many videos as I have, or 4 times. So says something when he sees those kind of numbers. Anyway, that's why it's a big deal to get subscribers, and why I'm such a whore about subscribers when I tell you guys to click that subscribe button in every single video, because I know the value of it is for these big interviews, and I really want to get them because I know you guys would watch them and like them, right? But to get the big interviews, I got to have the numbers. Okay. So I told Joel, I was like, yeah, I'm from Newport and this and that. He's like, oh, I live in Newport. So he told me where he lived, and it's like really close to where I was from. And we had like that instant connection. So like, Joel, what do I got to do? I was like, I need some sort of contact. He's like, all right. So he gave me this name of this girl, and he's like, I don't have her email on me, but she manages my show and she's PR. So he said, message her in the off season, because I'm too busy during season, and we'll try to make it happen. I was like, all right, Joel Klatt, I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to message this girl. So I right away went on Instagram. I found the girl's Instagram. I went on TikTok. I found the girl's TikTok, found her Facebook. I mean, I stalked this chick. I found her everywhere. So I got her email. I found all of her social medias. The day football season ends, I'm hitting her up, and I'm going to be like, yo, I talked to Joel Klatt. He told me where he lived. We had a little bonding moment. He said that he liked the amount of subscribers I had, so I need to get him on the show. So talk to Joel. Tell him Corn Craze is waiting. Tell him there are a lot of people who want to see him give his take on some Matt Rule things, and it would just be cool to interview Joel Klatt because I'm such a big fan of him, I like him better than Kirk Herbstreit, even though I do really like Kirk Herbstreit as well. But yeah, that was my Joel Klatt story. That was my Colorado story. So that was what happened. I got to meet up with some Corn Craze people there. I took a bunch of pictures. That was fun. Went to the bars. That was cool. There were just a lot of positives to that trip. The only negative was the game itself, but everything else really fun. Todd, thank you for the $20 super chat. What BS are you about to say right now? So you're saying I should have bought the 50-yard line 16 rows up before the season started for 350. We have an early harvest this year. Let's catch a late season game. Todd, I'm going to the Michigan game. I go to early season games because that's when there's still hope. You don't go to late season games because it's dead by then. Last year, I went to a late season game. I went to the Wisconsin game. There was no hope. The stadium was half full. You know, at the Wisconsin game last year, there were less than 50,000 people. Ugh, how miserable is that? The other part of the late season game, it was negative outside. I mean, I was so frozen. It said the wind chill was like -3. I did not like that. I would do it again because I'm about it. But Todd, you go early when there's still hope. And I saw you comment earlier. I didn't get to read it because I was walking around, but you said something about buying a Colorado jersey. That's what I thought you were going to say here, that you went and bought your Deion Sanders merch or something. But I'm glad to see that's not true. Anyway, I wish you would have gone. You would have had a good time. Jack Smith, 5-star offensive tackle Brandon Baker in town tomorrow. Do we land him or is it just for show? Man, you want the honest truth? I am 90% that this guy is not interested in Nebraska. 90% sure that this guy is not interested in Nebraska. I think he is smart. He has a YouTube channel. He understands social media. He understands Twitter. And he knows how much engagement it drives when he puts Nebraska in anything he posts. No, I don't think he's coming to Nebraska. I think they said Texas is the leader for him. There was something that was a red flag in the offseason. I can't remember what it was, but there was something that was a red flag that made me, like that day when it came out, that made me think, this dude is not interested in Nebraska. So I am going to stay on my prediction and say there's no chance that he's coming. I think he wants to go to Oregon or Texas. So that's my prediction, but who knows? Who knows? So another thing I was going to show you, Urban Meyer, he was on with Gary DiNardo on this little, I don't even know, it's a YouTube show. I watched it. It was like a 5-minute YouTube video. You should watch it. But I saw this clip on Twitter. So he talks about the 3-3-5 defense and kind of his takeaway. Let's watch it. When Urban Meyer validates what you've got going on, it says something. It means something. Urban Meyer is a Hall of Fame coach, legendary. Damn, I didn't have the audio on. I'm sorry, guys. It's all good. What's good is, I wasn't reading the chat that whole time. I was actually watching the video. I was so interested in it. What's good is, that means you're not gonna have to go watch the whole video. So I'm actually going to pull up the video for you so you can find it, because I want you to watch it. So it was a total tease. It's Urban Meyer, Nebraska. What a tease. I'm so good at marketing because now you guys are going to be interested. Fox or whoever it's on Big Ten Network. They need to hire me for marketing because I just got everybody wound up and excited. Okay, so here's the video. Do you see it right here? It says, how can the Huskers prepare for Coach Prime in Colorado? Urban analysis. So that's not the video, sorry, that's the channel. So if you click here, you go down to this one. So Big Ten Network channel, scroll down to the third video, 10 hours ago. Breaking down the Huskers 3-3-5 defensive scheme. 5.5 minutes long, well worth the watch. Yeah, I know a lot of you already watched it. I'm sure you did. But anyway, it'll make you feel better about the defense. It'll make you feel better about everything going on, because anytime someone who has an authoritative role like Urban Meyer as a Hall of Fame level coach just inspires confidence. So it made me more excited. That's what I'll tell you. And Smoking Cactus agrees. It was a good take. So yeah. Urban said Sims fumbled 4 times and killed momentum. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new there. It's what's the phrase? Beating a dead horse. At this point, I don't want to hear it. You know how some people say I don't want to hear about Dion and I don't want to hear about Colorado and I'm tired of Fox flashing the advertisements and this and that. That's how I feel talking about fumbles. That's how I feel talking about Jeff Sims and his issues. It's just so ugh. Anything. Bring up anything else. But that part is just so. I had to make an entire video where I talked about whether they should start or bench Jeff Sims because I knew that's what would get views after that game. I knew that's what people wanted to talk about. I'm not just doing it for views. I'm actually doing it because I know you guys want to talk about it. And I had to, break it down. But such a thing I don't want to talk about. Also, really quick, Adam Carricker. He's got a YouTube channel, Carricker Chronicles. You guys know this. I've told you before. But he has really good interviews. Like, the best interviews if you're a Nebraska fan. Tom Osborne, Rex Burkhead, Tommy Frazier, Tony White, Roy Alou, Larry the Cable Guy. I mean, I wish I could get these interviews. One day, I will be able to. But for now, Adam's the guy who gets them. So he's sitting at 8.4 thousand subscribers. He's got 50 videos. I'm trying to help him get to 10,000. So if you haven't yet, go over to Adam's channel. Just type in Carricker Chronicles. Hit the subscribe button. Adam supports my channel. He's a big support, actually, because he's come on a few times and given us great content. And yeah, his website sponsors the show. So big supporter. And I just want to make sure that we support him as well. So thank you guys for doing that, because I know that there were a lot of you who told me you did subscribe to Carricker's channel when he first dropped it. Caleb, thank you for the $2 super chat. Connor, if you want to sit in the student section, let me know. Enticing, but I'm a few years too old to be sitting in the student section. Just a few years. So maybe one day I'll walk by it, but I'm not going to sit there. But Caleb, thank you. You're the man. Thank you for offering. Let me see here. These comments are funny. If they put Sims in as punter, he will punt a pick 6. Come on, guys. Just so extra. With the increase in online gambling and players being caught, how much do you worry about college athletics, especially in Nebraska? You know, in Nebraska, I don't think that the big apps are legal. Let me see. We're going to find this out together. You guys already know the answer because a lot of you live in Nebraska. Sports gambling, Nebraska, legal. Nebraska is now legal, but it's only legal in certain places. So it doesn't look like you're allowed to go on the apps. So for now, I don't really worry about Nebraska because it's not as easily accessible. For maybe in Iowa, I don't know what the deal is in Iowa either, but maybe in Iowa they have FanDuel or DraftKings on their phone and they can do it really easily. So that is a deal breaker. I also think that because so many players are getting caught, other players around the country are going to be turned off to the idea. You've got the starting quarterback at Iowa who's now not allowed to play. So if you're playing at another school, you're like, wait, I have to risk being able to play for $100? That doesn't make too much sense. So yeah, it says it has to be in person, has to be in a casino. You're not going to be a Nebraska football player walking into a casino or anywhere in person trying to make a bet. It just would never happen. Dayton says, shout out to Brothrow. If you're in Nebraska, if you're in any state where it's not legal, you can actually bet on Brothrow. Go to brothrow.com/GBR. You can sign up and you can play legally anywhere. So you're right, Dayton. NFL Quick Talk. Will college football survive past 2040? Yes, it will survive. It will be pro football, but it will survive. Rodis, thank you for the $20 super chat. Come past our tailgate for a beer and a pick. When I'm in town for the Michigan game, I could do that if you remind me. If you hit me up, then I will make a plan. This is the thing. When I go to these games, I do my best because you guys are so supportive of me and you're all super cool and I want to meet you that if you try to make a plan with me, I will do my best to meet you guys in person. So if you're going to say you're at a certain bar or you want me to go somewhere, whatever, I'll do my best to get there. Also, after the Wisconsin game, I waited outside the stadium to meet. It must have been 100 people. I stood there for 20 minutes. I stood outside taking pictures, meeting people, talking to them, obviously all subscribers. So for the Michigan game, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'll stand outside by the statue. We can all talk, hang out. I'll stand there for 30 minutes if I have to. I don't care. 40 minutes if I have to, because it means a lot to me when I get to see it face to face. You walk up and tell me your screen name and that you're in the chat and all that. And it's, yeah, I think it's really cool. Noah, thank you for the $5 super chat. Sports betting is legal, but it's a complete pain. It's going to be awesome to see a home game go big red. It's going to be awesome to see a home game, especially because it's at night. The night games at Nebraska are top tier. Thank you for the 5, Noah. Lloyd says, Connor, how many sacks next game? This one's tough. This is tough. So, what's his name? Rocky Lombardi. He's not that easy to sack, right? He's kind of built. He could shake some guys off of him. Not a dual threat guy, really. I mean, he can move, but he's not going to run away. I'm going to say Nebraska gets 6 sacks. 6 is ambitious against this team, but I think they're going to blitz him a lot. 6 is ambitious. Maybe 5. So Northern Illinois returned 4 offensive linemen this year from last year's team, and I think 3 of them were all MAC. One of them was first team all MAC. One of them's an NFL potential player, or at least was. I don't know how he's doing this year. So the offensive line is not a pushover, which is going to make it more difficult. Is the offensive line as good as Colorado's? Is it better? Is it worse? I have no idea. I don't know where they would compare, but I mean, there's no way they're as good as Minnesota's. So, and they did well against Minnesota's O-line. So yeah, I could see 5. 5 would be fantastic. Dayton says Big Mac sack. Every time I watch those videos now, it's like the Big Mac sack, whatever. If you guys don't know what that is, that's when Matt Rule goes on the Husker football show after games during the week. And when he goes on, they have like an ad play. So he talks about the game a little bit. He like reviews the highlights, and then the Big Mac sack advertisement pops up, and they show the Big Mac sack of the game. Let's see. I'm not going to the game this week. I'm staying home until Michigan. No games for me this week. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna get healthy, watch games from my couch. I'm gonna get on live stream right when it's over. You know, that was the one thing about Colorado. I wasn't able to watch the game from the right lens. Like, I watched the game, but I didn't get to watch the game. You know, I didn't get to rewind anything. I didn't get to see the replays. I just kind of sat there and I talked to a lot of people. I walked around. So I watched like 75% of the game. And then after the game, when I went live, it was more so asking you guys questions about what you thought, because I couldn't give you a real take because I only watched part of it. So I was just in my emotions telling you guys. Now, this week after the Northern Illinois game, after they win, I'll be right here. Lights will all be turned on. It'll be, you know, lit because we just won. And then I'll give you guys my take. I'll give you guys the instant analysis. And then right when we're done with that, I'll start working on my video for the week, which we'll see what the title is. It'll all depend on if, you know, things go one way or things go another. But yeah, it'll be nice to be home. There's something about watching games from home. If I could have been at the game last week and I could have been home to watch the game, like right after, not like 12 hours later like I had to, but like right after, that would have been better. But it's really hard to travel to games for me because I really like to watch it from, you know, my standard lens, which is the analytical lens, where I try to analyze every single play. So, I don't know, just going to stay home for a little bit. Stay home and watch games on TV. Let's see here. James, sorry for coming in late. It'll be our, or I will be our first. Are you saying you will be at our first home game? Do you think Sims will be playing? I don't think Sims will be playing. No, I think Harburg will be playing. I think you, if you're Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield, you're saying we cannot afford to take our starting quarterback, who we want to drive the ship for the entire year, and put him out there with a bum ankle when his number one skill set is running the ball. It doesn't make sense. Are we going to put a limited player out there to just throw it when his main thing is running it? I'm going to guess Harburg. It's just a guess. I have no inside information. But yeah, James, thank you for the 20. That's my guess. Oh, also, James, thank you for gifting Corn Craze memberships. You're the man. We appreciate you. You do that every time. You're awesome. Brad, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for everybody who supports me. You guys all mean a lot to the channel. You guys keep the channel alive. Seriously, you guys have no idea how much time it takes to run this channel and what goes into it. So you guys supporting it makes a big difference. I know I highlighted your question and I wasn't paying attention. Should I go back to it? I never even answered it. Are you mad at me? I'm looking for it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I'm back. I promise you I won't neglect you. Okay. Can you explain why Sims turnover issues can't be fixed, especially since Rule is a player developer? Well, here's the thing. I think Sims turnover issues right now are mental. So can they be fixed? I'm sure. It's a mental issue. But the fact that they haven't been fixed in 4 years, it does point some red flags at Sims, right? And says, well, does he have the ability to overcome the issues when he has multiple coaches in his life who are trying to correct them? Think about this. He's got Jeff Collins at Georgia Tech. Then he had whoever his quarterback coach was outside of Georgia Tech. Then he has his coaches now at Nebraska who knew about the turnover issues, who were working with him through them. Then he has his quarterback coach at Nebraska, whoever he's working with now. So multiple coaches have tried to help him with these turnover issues. Is it possible to correct turnover issues? Yes, 100%. Are there some players who may never reach their full potential because there's some mental block or maybe a physical block? I'm sure there are. I don't believe that there's no way to fix Jeff Sims. I don't believe that to be true. I think there's always a way. Maybe the wrong coaching style or the wrong points of emphasis have been provided. But at this point in the game, my fear is we're 2 weeks into the season. We have 10 games left. How much time are we going to spend as an offense trying to work on turnover issues versus trying to develop game plans for the week? And although this week you may be able to spend more time on turnover issues, and next week you may be able to spend more time on the turnover issues, what happens when you get to Michigan? When Michigan is game planning and not working on basic fundamentals, they're working on how to beat Nebraska, and Nebraska is working on high school level fundamentals, what do you think is going to happen? Well, my prediction is Nebraska would lose that game by 60 because it would be a high school team with high school level preparation going against Michigan, who worked on the fundamentals 6 months ago, back in spring or back in winter. Fumbling is a fundamental issue. That's kind of the bottom line. If you work on a fundamental issue like tackling during season, how much better can it get? A little bit, I'm sure. But it takes away from everything else you need to be working on, studying, and hopefully preparing for. But yes, Matt Rule can fix him, I'm sure. He hasn't found a way yet, because if he would have found a way, then we wouldn't see the issues we have. And also, I really like how all of the players are taking accountability. I said this in the preview video, the game preview video. Gabe Ervin and who was the lineman? Was it Ben Scott? Maybe it was Ben Scott. Ben Scott and Gabe Ervin both made a point that it wasn't all on Jeff Sims. They're trying to take pressure off their guy because this offense is a unit. So although we don't know whose fault is what, they're all taking accountability, which needs to be done. Because if you're Jeff Sims, you were at Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech has fans, but they don't have Nebraska fans, and they don't have the spotlight right? So now that Jeff Sims is on the spotlight, there are videos all over the internet with his name on them. There are tweets everywhere saying bench Jeff Sims or people giving their opinion on Jeff Sims. Big name commentators saying his name and having a direct opinion. So if you're him, that's a lot of freaking pressure. And it's brand new because although you were highly recruited out of high school, you haven't played at the big time program. So I think it's really good for the players to, I guess the right word is step up and let their quarterback kind of blend in with them as a unit rather than let him stick out like a sore thumb. Although, dude has stuck out like a sore thumb up to this point. Joel, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate all the hard work you put in putting out great content. I'm seeing so much more than I used to, thanks to you and Adam. Yeah, first off, thank you for watching all the content I put out because honestly, the more views I get, the more incentivized I am to make more videos. One of the biggest issues with me making a lot of videos when I first started the channel was I had to make one video that crammed all the information because if I made two videos where I split them up, I would only get views on one video. So I would make the money I would have to make on the first video, but the second one I wouldn't. And I'd be like, was it really worth my time? I could have been working on something else to pay my rent, right? Now, every time I post, you guys watch. So now I'm like, okay, well, I made a video that was really good on Monday, but I can also make a video that's good on Wednesday and people are going to support it. So it makes it fun for me because I can now talk twice as much, and it makes it good for you because you're getting twice as much content. So that's what happens when you guys like the videos, subscribe, and share them. I can do more of them. And yeah, Adam now having a channel as well helps the Nebraska space because he's making more content for all of us to consume, and it's just more takes. I really like having, how many is it? John Johnston, Adam Carricker, Corn Nation, Damon Benning, me. You've got at least five who put out consistent content. So I really like that we have so many people who we can all, I guess watch is the right word. Because when I first started doing this, it wasn't that way. Carricker had some content coming out, but I don't remember watching it very often. I know it was on Omaha World Herald, so I probably just glazed over it. Sean Callahan. Oh, that's the other thing. Husker Online now has their YouTube running, and Husker Online does a great job with theirs. I used to be super upset because I thought they had way more potential, but now they hit the nail on the head. Their YouTube content is great. They have a 1 hour, I think it's I don't know if it's live or not, but they have a 1 hour show. It's Sipple, the other guy, and Sean Callahan. And yeah, you guys should give it a listen if you haven't yet. Okay. Caleb, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hot take. Heinrich throws 2 to 3 TDs and rushes for another. My hands would burn. That is so hot. I think a good day for him would be 75 yards rushing, 75 yards passing, and 1 touchdown. I think that would be a good day for him and no turnovers. Even if there was 1 turnover, I would call it a good day. And you really lean on the defense and the running back room to carry you in this game. That's what I think the goal is going to be. 2 to 3 touchdown passes would mean that they've got to throw it at least 17 times, I think. Is he going to throw 17 times? I don't know about that. Dayton, how insufferable were the Colorado fans last week? Okay, so there were 2 types of Colorado fans. There was the Colorado college kid, insufferable, childish, immature, acting out, saying F Nebraska every time they'd walk by me, but they wouldn't do it to your face, right? It's not like someone would walk directly into my face and say F Nebraska because they'd get smacked. But what they would do is they'd walk by you, they'd see you wearing red, and then right when you guys pass, F Nebraska, it's like, okay, child. I can't even respond to that nonsense. So that was the one type of Colorado fan. The second type was the adults, the people who are like the ones who are in this chat. Normal, you can have conversations with. I'm wearing red, and when I talk to them, they engage with me like a normal person would. So they feel our pain, they're happy about Dion, or they're not. I mean, some of them, it was honestly split. There were some older people I talked to. When I say older, I'm talking about like 65 plus, who weren't big on the Dion craze. And then there were some younger people who had their opinions on it. But for the most part, the younger people were excited about the Dion stuff. The older people weren't. But anyone above the age of 25 was very cool. And they were all empathetic towards our situation. And obviously, they wanted to see a better game. They like to know that Colorado was going to win, but they were like, God, this kind of sucks that Nebraska can't even get out of their own way. We wanted to see something competitive. So I would say a few insufferable, but for the most part, Colorado fans were very cool, just like they are at every other game. The only stadium I've been to where the fans are terrible is the Raiders in Oakland. They're beyond insufferable. They're drunks. They're on drugs. They're a total mess. Ugh, God. Colorado fans weren't like that. Salty says, why do they not take advantage of having Chuba and his brother doing big work at the Niners? Makes no sense. Well, I don't know how you would capitalize on that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the value would be like in having Chuba's brother. What would he do? I guess you could capitalize on it for marketing, but no. I tried to just now. I tried to process some sort of value add, but there was none. I tried. Napoleon says, is Sims a COVID senior? He did play a COVID year. So I think he has one more year left after this. Yes, he's a COVID junior. Rhoda says, if we had this week's game and next week's game first, do we have a different outcome with Minnesota and Colorado? Well, that'll be determined this week. So if Nebraska comes out and looks really good against these two less polished teams, because let me tell you, they're both questionable. When I say less polished, I mean turnover prone, not that efficient on either side of the ball. Louisiana Tech has not looked very good this year so far. This is their second year with their head coach. Anyway, if Nebraska looks polished in both these games, yeah, they would win Minnesota. Maybe they wouldn't win Colorado because Colorado's humming now, right? At this point in the season, if we get to Game 4, yeah, I would say three wins out of the last four if we would have started with a different opponent at home. Let me see. You guys are humming in the chat now. Minnie, thank you for the $5 super chat. Shout out Minnie. So I got to hang out with Minnie in Colorado. Minnie's great, just so you guys know. She's always in the live chat. She watches every video. Oh, she hits the like button on every video too. And she's like she wants to be a huge marketer for Corn Craze. Like she's out there talking to people and we're at the bars and everything. She's just a big supporter for our channel. So I know you guys see her in the chat, but Minnie's great. Minnie's a member. Thank you for the super chat, Minnie. And Minnie and I and my friend Jake and her husband David, we all hung out at the Colorado game. So that was good. Joshua, this is a realistic hot take. I like this hot take because this is one that could come true. NFL Quick Talk. Do you think Minnesota wins versus North Carolina? That's such a good question. I think it's going to be such an odd matchup. You have a team who wants to throw a bunch versus a team who traditionally likes to run a bunch but can throw now that they have Kaliak-Manis, although Kaliak-Manis isn't as good as we thought he could be. I think he's a little bit like he was last year, and people thought he was going to turn the corner. He's just kind of middle of the road, but he has great receivers. I think Minnesota's going to cover in that game. I don't know if they're going to win. It's tough. They're going on the road. Drake May's like the elite quarterback of the bunch. I typically like to play or bet on quarterbacks. So I don't think they'll beat North Carolina, but I do think it'll be closer than people are thinking. 7.5 was kind of a big spread. So I'm taking Minnesota +7. I think it'll be like a 3 to 5 point game. Minnesota has good receivers, don't forget. So if they have to play from behind, they can catch up pretty quick. I really like, what's his name? Daniel Jackson. Guy's a stud. And he's not even, it's Corey Crooms, Daniel Jackson, Chris Ottman-Bell. So I wouldn't even say he's the number one most talented, or maybe he is and just wasn't in the spotlight until now. But yeah, Minnesota's pretty decent. So crazy that Nebraska is playing in this conference with Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Purdue, Illinois, all teams who were so mid. And once again, we're the middest of them all. Michelle, love your content. I've been watching you from the beginning. Yeah, Michelle, I always see your name in the chat. Thank you for supporting and thank you for always being here. I'll keep putting out more good content. Jose says, can't wait for Nebraska to come to Cali. Can't wait for Nebraska to come to Cali. I can't either. When they come to California, who do they play first? Well, the schedule's going to get shifted up a bit, but I think they play UCLA first. And Nebraska red in the Rose Bowl looks pretty freaking good. I went to that game in 2012. It was, I don't know if it was full, but it looked pretty full. It probably was full because UCLA was good back then. That was the year that Taylor Martinez broke off for like a 70 or 80-yard run. Yeah, I'd love to see them beat up on UCLA, but it's coming quick. Liam says, is it confirmed Sims is out for tomorrow's game? No, it won't be confirmed until right before the game. They're going to put it out, I think it's 2 hours before, an hour and a half before the Big Ten puts the official do not play list up. So we'll know then. But I'm guessing they're trying to keep it like close to the vest so that Northern Illinois can't prepare, you know, a little strategy. Brad says, love the collaborations. I'm going to keep trying to bring them on. I'll do another video with Adam here soon. John Johnston and I are doing videos all the time. I really like him, so I keep them coming. Let's see. John says, I grew up and still live in West Virginia. As a teenager many years ago, I always liked Nebraska football. Well, you grew up in Nebraska's heyday, so that would make sense. I root for West Virginia, but the Huskers have always been my other favorite team. You know, it's interesting. When I was in 8th, 9th grade, I was a big West Virginia fan because you know who they had back then? Well, you know, but other people might have forgotten. They had Pat White and Steve Slayton. They were number 2 in the country, number 3, something like that. They played against Pitt in a game that would have probably sent them to the national championship. It was at home, at night, electric atmosphere. They lost that game. I think I was in 9th grade, but West Virginia was one of my favorite teams. My grandpa, he's a big Nebraska fan. He was always a supporter of me, rooting for other players because he was just happy that I like college football, obviously, as much as I did. And I know he went on eBay and found me a Pat White and Steve Slayton photo. God, it was so awesome. They're both in their white jerseys, like doing a handshake after a win, coming off the field, no helmets on, like all the sweat. I mean, it was a legit photo. And then black ink on the white jerseys, they signed their names. And I had that hanging up in my room. It's still in my mom's house. But sorry, guys, I'm sick. It's like I keep getting caught up. But yeah, West Virginia fan, OG is me. I liked him back then. Fantasy football tips. Corn crazed. It was an honor meeting you outside the ticket counter this past weekend. Hard to walk to the car after the game. My grandpa got called a pussy more than once. Which ticket counter did we meet outside of? Ticket counter. When was I outside of a ticket counter? You got to remind me. I don't remember being outside of a ticket counter. Oh, I was outside of the Nebraska will call with the Nebraska parents. I was out there talking to some people for a minute. I don't remember. You have to remind me though. Anyway, it was hard to walk to the car after the game for me too. People were yelling at me on my live stream. Guys are walking by making comments. So I get it. Words don't hurt my feelings. To mess with me, you'd really have to touch me. So if you're just yelling at me or talking BS, I could care less. That's why I thought it was so interesting. You know, this is just kind of a life lesson I've learned. Like energy, positive energy attracts other like or other positive energy. So if you're in a scuffle or if you're in any kind of situation where people are talking bad to you and you just ignore it because you don't care, typically the situation will automatically diffuse itself. But if you respond because you're upset, then the other person's going to get a little bit more heated. You're going to get more heated. It turns into a fight. I saw this video. I have no idea the context of the video, but I saw this video in the stands on the Colorado side and a Nebraska fan. It looked like they got in a fist fight with some Colorado fans. How it escalated to that point, I don't know. Maybe alcohol was involved. Maybe the guy touched him. Who knows? I've never hit anybody who didn't touch me first. I've never felt the urge to do anything to anyone who didn't touch me first. So if you're positive, If you are focused on what you care about and you just let the other stuff, what is it? Be like water. Let the other stuff kind of just like, flow off of you. You won't run into any issues. So, yeah, people said all kinds of stuff to me at that game. Didn't affect me. Could care less. People say stuff to me all the time. I live in Hollywood, like you guys know. I walk around the streets. I've got homeless guys cussing at me, shirtless, cussing at me, acting like they're gonna kill me. I don't respond. Now, if they got up next to me, you know what's going down, but they don't. So I just kind of walk it off, and then what happens? Situation diffuses itself. That happens at all these college football games because there's always kids. It's not just Colorado. Every game I go to, and I wear Nebraska stuff, if I go to Michigan or if I go to Wisconsin or Penn State, everywhere I've gone, people will yell stuff about Nebraska. Nebraska sucks. They'll yell it in your face and think they're funny. I, Fun. Great. I'm busy. Lawrence said, "What'd you think of Ralphie running around?" I didn't see Ralphie. So I walked into the stadium late because I bought my ticket late. So I walked in at the 12-minute and 30-second mark. So the first 3 minutes of the game was already done, and Ralphie had already run. So I didn't see Ralphie, unfortunately. Michelle, would love to meet you at the game. Michelle, I'll be there for the Michigan game. Just make sure you message me on Discord or whatever, and I'll tell you guys where I'll be, because I'd love to meet all you guys too. James, thank you for the 20. If we win the next 2 games, do you think there's still a path to get to a bowl game under year 1 of Rule? I saw an interview with Rule saying the Huskers were at year 2 of Rule's development plan. So I think a lot of us have seen that interview. We've talked about it before. Although he's at year 2 of his development plan, I think a true year 2 would have been winning against Minnesota and keeping it closer against Colorado than it was kept. Sorry. So, yes, I think a bowl is still in play. I think if they win these next 2, I would actually be optimistic. If they win these next 2, it would likely mean, and this isn't the first sure thing, so don't hold me to it. It would likely mean that Nebraska limited their turnovers, that they didn't give the game away, and that they continued to be consistent on defense. If that's the case, then yeah, of course. If the turnovers are going to change, Nebraska can easily win 6 of these games. Illinois, average football team. Purdue, lost to Fresno State at home, average football team. Wisconsin, I mean, they're still going to be good and they're still going to be a challenge. They've got a ton of talent on their team, but they're not elite. They're not the typical Wisconsin we know. They're like last year's Wisconsin, who came into Lincoln and barely escaped by 1 point. So my point is, those 3 right there, then you have 2 wins, and then you've got Iowa. Who else is on the schedule? Northwestern. Oh, come on. Bowl game? That's 100% still in play, but you have to win these 2 games. Have to win these 2 games. Have to change the turnover narrative. Turnover narrative gets changed. Come on, man. We can win 7. The defense is legit. The offense doesn't need to be great. The offense needs to get to the point where they can score 21 points a game. That's it. The offense could do that. If the offense stops turning the ball over, they're going to score 21 points a game. Am I wrong? They moved the ball okay at times against Colorado. If they would have made their field goal with Alvano, that would have put them at 17. And that included 3 fumbles, right? 3 fumbles and 1 interception, I think. 4 turnovers total. So Nebraska scored 17, or would have scored 17 in that situation. I'm giving Alvano that kick because he missed it just so slightly to the right, and it bounced off the upright. But I think Albano's only going to get better. That's the reason I'm giving it to him. He's in his 2nd game. Come on. Anyway, 4 turnovers would have given Nebraska at least 1 more touchdown. That would have put 24 on the board. If Nebraska can score 24 a game, yes, they can win games. No problem. Defense will hold teams to 17 to 21. I'm a full believer in that. And the defense will be even better. The defense could potentially pitch a shutout in the Big Ten against a team like Iowa or Northwestern, 100%. But they can't be put into bad situations. Minnie says, I feel like the only one who wants to see Sims tomorrow start. Maybe not play the whole game. Well, Minnie, I think a lot of people want to see it, but they cringe at the idea of wanting to see it. Because I want to see it too. But what I want to see isn't isn't that I want to see him start because I have the most faith in him. It's that I want to see him start because I know that this staff is going to roll with him. And I just hope that maybe there's something different at home. Maybe because he's not on the road in a ruckus environment, that he's a little bit more locked in and focused, that his nerves are now calmed down. So, yeah, that's why I want to see him start. So I understand your position. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. They want to see him get it turned around, they want to see him get it fixed. But the overwhelming feeling that I can't shake is that I want to see if Heinrich Harburg can do any better. Just, yeah, I don't think he can throw as well as Sims. That's the problem. And Sims hasn't been a terrible passer. He's had a couple bad decisions, but he's not a terrible passer, right? Heinrich, on the other hand, is he like a Logan Smothers? It's yet to be seen. So, be interesting. I don't know. Never mind me with the funny reply to that comment. You're a savage, bro. Come on. Don't be mean to Minnie. Michelle says, I'd like to see Sims run. That's probably it. Lock him up is not a believer. 10-point loss? Come on. If Nebraska loses, they could lose. I think they'd lose by 3, but I don't know. 10? I don't even want to think about it, man. JJ, the Lonely Bull. Who are we talking to? Me? If we're talking to me, I paid $280. Yeah, I paid $280. And I bought that ticket after the game started. So, worth it. I promise it was worth it. I had a great time. You guys have some ridiculous comments. Fantasy football tips. Got a selfie with you outside the southeast side of the stadium by Will Call. I remember. Met your friend Jake, I think, too. Honestly, had a blast at the game despite the loss. I do remember that picture. I know where the southeast side is because I kept having to have people tell me what side of the stadium I was. But it was nice to meet you. I'm glad you walked up and got a picture. That was cool. Let's see. Can someone tell me what the score is on the Maryland-Virginia game? I'm interested because I've got some prop bets on Maryland. Grant, thank you for the $5 super chat. Connor, how would you rate Matt Rule's hire at DC on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you think Tony White gets head coach offers after the season? I actually had a conversation about this the other day. So, man, it's tough when you hire such a good DC, right? The guy's been already super electric for this team, and I think the defense is what's gave us all hope that this season could be turned around. Because if the defense looked like the offense, I don't know if I could watch anymore. Anyway, I would rate this higher on a scale of 1 to 10. A 10. This was a home run. At Nebraska, it would have been hard to do better. Tony White was proven before he came in. Tony White was already known to have players go to the NFL. Tony White was at a Power 5 school, and we stole him. Yeah, this was a 10 out of 10 hire. Now, do I think Tony White gets head coach offers after this season? So, if Nebraska got to a bowl game, and if Tony White was able to get this D to finish in the top 50, I think that there would be chances that in Alabama or someone of that caliber could come calling. Because the market's limited on good proven coaches, right? Because a lot of the good proven coaches get elevated to head coach really quickly since the tolerance is so short at most of these schools. Would he get a head coach offer? Maybe from a smaller school, but I'd be more curious to see if he got offers from a big time program, and would he leave Nebraska? Because if Nebraska's only paying if Nebraska's only paying $1 million, how much will Bama pay? Or how much would, who knows? I don't know what teams are in the market or will be in the market, but you get my point. It is a concern that he could potentially leave. Jim, thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you. I always see in the comments. Also, I don't think he's going to leave. I think we get Tony White for at least 2 years. Just like I think Colorado is going to get Deion Sanders for at least 2 years. Actually, I can guarantee they will, because Travis Hunter can't transfer again, so he's gonna stay. But the point is, I think 2 years is safe to say. But beyond that, could be dangerous because Tony White is doing some things. And what's interesting is, what happens if you lose Tony White? I don't even like talking about these things. We're 2 games in with this freaking guy, but we'll talk about it anyway. What happens if you lose Tony White? You go and get another coordinator who runs a different defense? You go and get a coordinator who runs the same defense? What's the game plan there? How much does that change things? How much does it change in recruiting? Because I know a lot of these players they recruit over the next 2 seasons are going to be tied to Tony White since he has such good proven history. Interesting. Not sure. MWI 87. How many punts do we field inside the 10-yard line tomorrow night? Do we field inside the 10 as in like catch them, like for fair catches? Or how many do we punt and land and stop in inside the 10? I'll assume that's what you're talking about. I think that Buschini will get, at home, I think he'll get 2 inside the 10's hard. I would say inside the 20. But okay, fine. I'll say 2 inside the 10. That would be very impressive. I think he had 4 inside the 20 in one game last year. 3 inside the 20 in one game. Was it 3? I don't remember. It was a stat I looked up before the season. Psy Guy being a hater. Rule equals Frost 2.0. Not quite. I don't believe in that. I don't subscribe to that narrative. Max says, can't wait to see more out of Cam Lenhart. Definitely has NFL potential in the future. That guy is one of the biggest bright spots on this entire team. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say we're going to see a lot more out of him. I want to look at some props for Nebraska tomorrow. I want to see if they have anything listed here. Give us an idea of yardage. So the spread right now, this is on DraftKings. I don't use DraftKings, but it has the props for you to see. So right now, Nebraska is a 13-point favorite. I don't like that. I'm going to be honest with you. 13 points when I could see Nebraska keeping this within 10 and keeping it low scoring. I'm not betting this. I like this bet better, which is the under. Under 42, that means Nebraska would win like 24-10, 24-13. That goes under. Again, it's too unpredictable because you don't know what's going to happen in the turnover department. If Nebraska fumbles it, if there are some pick sixes, this could flip real quick. So I'm staying away this week. I'm actually not betting on Nebraska this week. I took some teasers, so I got like the under at 54, but yeah, I'm not taking any of these straight bets. Gabe Ervin Jr. is expected to run for 55 yards. This is an interesting one because my expectation is that the game plan is to run it all day long. And if the game plan is to run it, Gabe Ervin's going to be the number one. Now, Anthony Grant's going to get some opportunities, but if Gabe's number one, come on, 55 yards. He ran for 74 last week, and he should have ran for more. So he got pulled out after that fumble, and Ramir Johnson went in for the rest of the game. I love this over. I love it with a capital heart. Like, if you could capitalize a heart right here, make it red and flash, bang. That is my favorite pick of the whole day, okay? These are all dangerous. I am not trusting a single one of these because I don't know what Heinrich Haarberg is going to do. Alex Bullock, over 29.5 yards receiving. Okay, Alex gets targets, but Alex has a couple drops. He dropped a 17-yard pass last week that was such a critical error. Would have been a first down conversion. Jeff Sims must have been punching himself. But anyway, I do not trust any play for a Nebraska receiver this week. I am not saying that Heinrich Haarberg will not throw it, but I could see them limiting him to 10 attempts. Honestly, I could see them limiting him to 10 attempts. And if they did, then, and relying on the defense, obviously. And if they did, I don't know if these are going over or not. And who's his favorite target going to be? We've never seen Heinrich throw to any of these guys. We've only seen him throw to Thomas Fidone. He's probably targeted one of these guys, actually. But I think the only completion he had was with Fidone. Whatever. You guys get the point. It's dangerous. Team total. This is another one that's kind of sketchy to me. Nebraska scoring over 27.5 points tomorrow. That's 28. That's 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns for a team with a new quarterback? I don't know about that. So that's a stay away for me. I do kind of like this, the over at 13.5 for Northern Illinois. I feel like in whatever world we see, a turnover-prone world or a non-turnover-prone world, I think Northern Illinois is going to get to 14. That's a garbage time touchdown and one other touchdown throughout the game. I don't know why. I just have this gut feeling that they could get there. But we'll see. I'm not betting any of it. Although my favorite pick was the Gabe Urban. Because Gabe is all reliable. And Gabe, as we know, is the favorite. It's just at what point will he break out and have some big runs? 21-14 Maryland up. Thank you guys for sharing that information. I needed that. D'Angelo, thank you. Let me move my chat up a little bit because I don't like where it's positioned. Bang. D'Angelo, thank you for the $10 super chat. I cut up some players. Wait, I cut up some players that walk on and they still believe, you mean you hit up, I think. Okay, I hit up some players that walk on and they still believe there's some favoritism in this program. Grant should get more ground time. We lost a good kicker to Iowa State. I think IGC leaves. Okay, so interesting. Favoritism in the program? For sure. I think there's favoritism at every program. Coaches know who their go-to guys are, who they trust, and who they want to roll with. So, yeah, favoritism is part of college football. Favoritism definitely is being felt with this Jeff Sims situation, I'm sure, in the locker room because he's been given the longest leash, but also that could mean that the other quarterbacks just aren't performing as well in practice. So who am I to say? Grant should get more ground time. So I think it was good for Grant to be benched last week after 3 weeks of known turnover problems. And then saying, we're not going to play you. You have to learn your lesson. And we're going to go with the guy who's more reliable in Gabe Urban. I think it was fair and justified. I don't think it's Gabe Urban's a favorite. I think it's more so you've got to be ready when called upon. And Grant was not ready when called upon. We lost a good kicker to Iowa State. Had to go all in on one kicker. Can't go all in on two kickers. That's the only problem with that. So I like Alvano. And I think everybody's kind of on the same page that Alvano was the go-to. And you think IGC leaves next year? Yeah, I mean, he could leave. I don't know. I don't know if I was a receiver, if I'd want to stay at Nebraska. Honestly, at this point, with the way the passing game's going, it doesn't look like they're going to pass it too much. IGC's in a tough spot, man. He didn't get to play last year by choice because he felt like he wasn't getting the right opportunities. And now this year he tears his ACL. Dude got screwed, honestly. I really like him, and he would have played a much bigger role. But yeah, I mean, you could be right about that. Again, I don't know. But thank you for the $10 super chat, and thank you for giving me your take. Hopefully, Grant gets more playing time this week. I'm assuming Grant's going to get more playing time this week. JJ says, can Travis Hunter go pro after the season? He can't. He has one more. Buyer says, got my third concussion in 3 months. Can't play sports anymore. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I've never had a concussion, but I had 2 knee injuries. I'll tell you this. The worst day of my life was when I tore my ACL after my first game of my senior season. Well, not after, during my first game of my senior season. The second worst day of my life was when I tore my ACL a year and a half later in spring football when I was a freshman in college. Okay. And then the best day of my life was the day that I quit football completely. And I said, I'm going to start a new chapter and I'm going to figure out some things that bring me happiness outside of this. And I didn't know at the time, but I needed those knee injuries to force me away from the sport I loved so much because it had gotten to be this toxic relationship for me where I put all my eggs in that basket and I put all my time into football and I loved it so much that I didn't realize how much else was out there for me, right? So there are different ways to look at these opportunities that we get in life. You can look at them as, this sucks, or you can look at this as a new door has opened. So I'm hoping for you that although you can't play sports anymore, that soon you will see there's more to life than playing sports and that there is a lot more out there that you'll have more fun doing than you ever knew you would. So my advice to you now is just get out there and try new things. Get out there and meet new people. Do your best to keep your head up. But yeah, it sucks to be in that position. I have been there. I promise you, I felt some type of way. But greener grass, bro. Trust. Woogie says, there was a testimony by IGC that it wasn't his choice to sit out last season because MJ told him to leave. I just want to clear this up because he didn't leave by choice. Wow, I didn't know that. That's actually interesting. Mickey telling him to leave is so aggressive. Why would he say that? Ugh. But I thought IGC had just sat out because he felt like the coaches didn't want to play him. Who knows? Interesting. My friends keep asking me why Sims doesn't get benched after 6+ turnovers when Grant gets benched after 1. Well, the simple answer is there are more running back options than there are quarterback options. So that's that. Let's see. Nathaniel, thank you for the $5 super chat. I just want to be able to talk shit in my college football group chats for once. Even my Auburn buddy comes from my head in the group chat. Dude, you're talking to the wrong person. I get harassed. And now that I wear, I mean, what's the right word? Wear it on my sleeve. Everybody knows where I lean. Everybody on the planet knows how I feel. So I get bagged on constantly by every one of my friends. My friend Tony, he's the one who plays in the NBA, right? He'll be like, Connor, I just got done with practice. I was on ESPN. He's like, I saw something about your coach or something about this, or I saw the score. How you feeling? I'm like, dude, stop calling me in the worst moments. You know how I feel. I hate it. He's the worst because he calls me after every loss. Never calls me after a win, just after a loss to make sure I'm okay. Trust me, it's painful. Don't get me started says, do you think Kemp has the potential to be elite? I really liked what I saw from him last week. Elite is a strong word. Elite to me means NFL player. You know, Kemp's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy, but he's shifty. He makes moves in space, and he catches the ball when it's thrown to him. I don't know if he's an NFL player, but I think he could be, for sure, Nebraska's #1 receiver. I like Marcus Washington, but, you know, Marcus Washington still hasn't come on that strong this year yet. He had his first game that was really good, but last game was nothing. I think Kemp could be the #1 receiver on Nebraska's team, and I'm going to leave it at that. I think he's a guy who could hit 100 yards this year. Maybe twice. Yeah, I'll say 200-yard games for Kemp is possible, but he's really limited by his quarterback, if we're being honest. Or not by the quarterback, by the scheme, because the scheme calls for maximum 20 passes per game. And if you get 6 targets or 7 targets out of those 20, how much damage can you really do? So I do like Kemp, though. What's everyone in the chat talking about Arik Gilbert for? Do I need to go on Twitter and type in Arik Gilbert? Because that's a random name for you guys to bring up right now. What? Arik Gilbert arrested again? Arik Gilbert was arrested today in Lumpkin, so he's back in Georgia. Allegedly stole around 150 vapes today. The dude stole 150 vapes again? Why is he so obsessed with vapes? Damn. This dude needs some help. I mean, we knew he needed help, but why are you stealing vapes? I would understand if he was stealing money, honestly. At least that would be justified, but why vapes? Poor guy. Okay, honestly, my take on this, this comment's funny. This comment's, this one's funny, Logan. You're funny as hell. We get it, you vape. Okay, you're funny. I feel bad for him because he's got major issues, obviously, mental issues if he's stealing vapes, if he's stealing at all, and he's a Division I college football player. So Todd, I know. Where is it? Todd, thank you for the $20. Okay, listen. He says, got to know what you bring into your program. Here's the deal. They knew what they brought into their program. They knew they brought in somebody who had some challenges and some issues, some mental health issues, right? But they wanted to fix him. It's like girls who go after the bad guy and they feel like they can fix him. Sometimes you just can't. But if you're a coach, who said this? I was watching a video the other day. Was it Damon Benning? I don't know who it was. I wish I could quote the person, but the message was a coach believes they can fix these people. They believe that they can fix them. And it was Damon Benning, I think. Anyway, they're coaches. So they believe that although someone else wasn't able to fix them or cure them of their issues, they want to take a chance because that's their profession, is to help young people, right? I get why they wanted to help him. And I totally wish that it would have happened, but his mental blockers are really holding him back in life. Anyway, Todd, I know you got to know what you bring into your program, but when we're talking about young people who've had some challenges in life, sometimes you got to take chances on them. It's less about football. I mean, it's always about football in this case, but it's not always about just football. Sometimes these coaches are rehabilitation guys and they want to be able to help them. And if they can help them and they get them back on their feet, they're also going to have a superstar football player who will help them in other ways. So, two birds with one stone. Vedorinus Gaming. Is that Vedorinus? I don't know how to say your name, bro. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Been watching since last year. Military here. #GBR. Well, thank you for your service. I'm glad I gave you something to watch. Appreciate you. What branch of the military are you in? And Big D, thank you for being a member for 11 months. What's up, Connor and Corn Craze chat? Whenever someone spells my name right with an O, it just warms my heart. Let me tell you. We got James who says he's a combat vet here too. Nice. Thank all of our vets for their service. We got a lot of vets who watch this channel. I know that. D'Angelo, thank you for the $5. Don't mean to intrude on the combo with IGC, but I heard him say Eric needs help in the most sincere way. Everyone loved him, but there was something off. Yeah, it's the mental. There's something going on in the head. Thank you for the 5. Brad says you should wear shades with the hat. This is hilarious. I should have done it for Colorado week so I could look like him. And Verdana says he's in the Army. I know we got some other people in the Army. Woogie's in the Army. Or he's in the military. I don't know if he's in the Army. I can't remember. What was I going to do? I was going to do something really quick. Oh, I was going to look at the games for this week. Oh, I was going to have you guys help me make picks. That's what I was going to do. Okay, guys, so check it out. So this is Bro Throw, as you guys know, right? So we have this Corn Craze group right here. In this group, we've got all these members. Oh, 2 new members joined today. Bang, bang. So we've got over 1,000. Wait, hang on. I got to promote this first. Todd, my friend Todd, does pheasant hunting. He has a farm. He has 14,000 acres. I can't remember the exact number. It's off the top of my head. But Todd's in South Dakota. Big hunter. He said, welcome combat vets. Hit me up for a free pheasant hunt. You guys should take advantage of this opportunity. 100%. Todd's a very cool guy in South Dakota. He's the guy who supports our channel by giving us $100 for every Nash, Hutmock, or Sack. But anyway, if you're a combat vet and you want to go pheasant hunting, hit up Todd. He'll take care of you. He's awesome. I actually promoted his pheasant hunting on the channel in a video like last week. So his number's in there. Which video was that? You know what? I'm just going to read you the number right now. We're going to do this again. We're going to do another promo for Todd because he's offering a free pheasant hunt. So here's the promo. Kids under 16 hunt for free. Combat vets hunt for free. Call Todd at 605-280-4103. Again, like a true radio host, that number is 605-280-4103. He's up in Presho, South Dakota. Pheasant season is between October, I think middle of October, and early January. And they've been hunting up there for 48 years with wild birds, not cage birds, Or I think it's what it was, Cage Birds. And Todd is a combat vet himself, Iraq. I think Todd was a Marine. Anyway, make sure you guys know that that offer is there for you. Todd, thank you for the super chats. You're the man. You know, I appreciate you every time you come over here, and you're the executive producer of the channel. Okay, let me clear this. Okay, now I'm going to make these picks. So on Bro Throw, like I just showed you guys, there's all these members, right? And I'm not getting paid to promote Bro Throw right now. I'm just doing this because every time I promote it, people sign up and I get constant thank yous for introducing people to the site. But seriously, I'm not getting paid for this promo right now. Okay. So they have this pick'em. So I can enter it for $20. I'm going to enter it. So it's college football games this week. So it's a $20 entry. It'll get up to like 50. Right now the payout's $254 for first place, but that'll get to like 500 something. So let's see. I'm going to take Mississippi State plus 9.5. This game is so sketchy. Chris Kleiman versus Eli Drinkwitz. The coaching edge is so heavily in Kansas State's favor. And because it's not a night game, I feel so much more comfortable with Kansas State traveling on the road. I'm laying the points. I don't care. I like Kansas State's coach. I like their quarterback. This, I think Josh Pate said this was a potential upset spot for Penn State going to Illinois. Illinois has a quarterback who can run. I call BS. Illinois is mid this year. Mid like they always are, except for last season. Penn State has one of the best defenses in the country. South Carolina, Georgia. This one's tough for me. Spencer Rattler's like top 10 in passing yards this year. Georgia is not the same Georgia they were from last year. I'm taking South Carolina plus the points. I think I said it earlier in this video, Minnesota plus 7. How are you going to not keep this game close if you're Minnesota? You've got a quarterback who can air it out. You've got a defense who's, you know, pretty good. And I think Drake May is overrated. That's just my take. I don't like him. I don't know why. It just rubs me the wrong way. Okay, Duke over Northwestern, minus 17. Yeah, it could have been 19. I'm still taking Duke. Michigan State. I loved Washington all week, and then I don't know what it is. I think that late afternoon turn into night at Michigan State could get wild and could get rowdy, so I'm going to take them plus 16.5. This line continues to move. It opened at 7.5. It's now down to 5.5. Florida could win outright. Tennessee, for whatever reason, is not getting much love because everyone's hammering this play. So Florida in the swamp at home at night. This is like the game of the day. So yeah, we're taking that. Another sketch line. This line is moved from like -1 West Virginia all the way to -3. I hate West Virginia. I hate their coach. I'm taking Pitt plus 3. I'm taking Syracuse at Purdue at night. I don't know. Syracuse has a proven quarterback. He's been there for a couple of years. Syracuse has a pretty good defense. They've got Tony White's mentor, who's their defensive coordinator now. I think Syracuse can win that by more than 3. I love Arkansas. Arkansas is my second team. And you shouldn't have made the comment about the shades. The shades comment was disrespectful, and now Dion's going to make you pay for it. So 23.5, not a problem. They're winning by 60. Those are my picks. Great. Thank you guys for making my picks with me. I just wanted to show you what I was thinking about this week. Ty says, the burning question I have for everyone is, will the Jeff Sims combo survive the season at Amigos if he starts, or if he loses the starting gig? That's a good question. I forgot he has a combo. It's like a burrito and a hard shell taco, I heard. Yeah, I don't know if he would be able to hold on to that deal. I'm going to guess that's a deal that was predetermined and they're not going to steal it from him. So I'm sure he'll get his money either way. Look at all these military dudes in our Corn Craze group. I actually wasn't in the military, but people always think I was because my head's shaved and I always wear camo. But nope, I just represent for you guys. Logic's finest. I'm late to the stream. How do you see the offense getting fixed? It's bigger than just turnovers. The defense is rock solid. Yeah, my take in my start or bench Jeff Sims video last week or Sunday or whatever day that was. My take was that the offense needs to focus on not turning it over. They don't have to score. They have to be Iowa. All of us are okay with this team being Iowa. Have a great defense, win 6 or 7 games, offense doesn't make mistakes, we punt to win, we kick field goals to win. If Nebraska kicks 4 field goals a game and scores 12 points that way, has one defensive turnover that either results in a defensive touchdown or puts the offense in an easy scenario for a TD, fine. That means Nebraska scores 19, 20, 21 points a week. Is the defense strong enough against these weak Big Ten West teams to hold them? Absolutely. I am fine if Nebraska wins 20-17 every single week. It's very possible. You just have to completely wipe out the turnovers. So be like Iowa. That's my take. Be Iowa. And if you're an Iowa fan, that should make you happy because that's the first positive thing I've said about Iowa, that I want to be like you. Taylor says, what exactly makes bro throw legal anywhere? Does anyone know? Yes, it's not a sports book. It partners people together. So what it does is it hosts one platform where you and I can both sign up and communicate. So because we communicate together and we pay each other for our bets, all they're doing is creating the infrastructure. Think of it like the Uber for sports betting. So they create the website where we can all go and sign up. We can all go and see the lines. We can all go and make the picks. And then bro throw, all they do is tell us, here's how you pay each other. So it's legal everywhere because it's not a sports book. I actually made videos for them on their YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about it, just go to youtube.com/brothrowbets. And I've got a ton of videos where I broke down how their company works and why I love it so much and how to use it. Let's see. Unpopular take. I thought our defense was average, gave up 454 yards while they only spent 38 seconds longer on the field. Okay, so here's the deal. That's not an unpopular take. I think there are a lot of people who thought that way. I even thought that way a bit. But the defense is reactive. So if they're getting good energy from the offense, they're going to play better. If they are struggling on offense and the game looks like it's not going their way, they're going to start to slow up because the motivation stops. At what point are you going to say, well, I'm the only one who's out here making big plays, but we're not making big enough plays to win the game by ourselves? So eventually you slip up on tackles, you slip up on coverage and everything else, right? So I understand your position, and I was frustrated last week by the defensive effort at times, but the offense gave them no help, and it hurts the motivation and the drive. So that was the problem. Time of possession was 7 minutes less in the second half. Don't look at the overall. Colorado stomped all over us the second half. Yeah, but it was the offense who put them in that position. The defense was just a victim of the situation, a victim of the circumstances. Anyway, guys, we've been on here for an hour and a half. I think that this was a great live stream. Tomorrow night, the game is at 4 p.m. my time, right? Let me double check that. Yeah, it is. It's at 6 p.m. Nebraska time. Oh, night games are so good. I can't wait to watch it. So the game's at 4, 6 Nebraska time. Say it goes 3 hours. So that's 7 my time. So 7:30-ish Pacific time. We'll be back here in the same exact spot. We've got 313 people live right now. If you're live watching right now or watching the replay, hit the like button because you love the show. You want to support us, help more people find it. But basically 24, 25 hours from now, we're going to be back in the same spot. I hope I don't eat my words. We're going to be celebrating a Nebraska win. It's going to be lit in here. We're going to be talking about all the good things. We're going to be talking about Heinrich Haarberg coming out and exploding in his first career start. We're going to be talking about the defense, locking it down and holding Northern Illinois to less than 10 points. I mean, I can already taste the celebration and it hasn't even started yet. I might have to buy a bottle of champagne and pop that right here just to get us all pumped up. I'm going to save the champagne for a big one, like a Big Ten win. But you guys get the point. It's going to be a good night tomorrow night. So tomorrow, I'll see you. Thank you for being here, and go Big Red.